We are on the first break in the questioning of John Grieve at the undercover policing inquiry. John Grieve had many roles in the Met, but he's being asked specifically about his time as head of the Racial and Violent Crime Task Force, which was one of three teams that were drafting the Met Police's response to the Stephen Lawrence inquiry, alongside the Stephen Lawrence review team and Sarah Thornton's briefing of the commissioner. Unlike any other witness we've had from the police at the inquiry, he has been very plain and, quite frankly, seems honest about the overt racism that existed within the Met. He referred to, in 1966 when he joined the Met, he said it was full of overt racists. He said by 1998 there were a lot less, but that isn't saying much. We haven't had any other officer say that before. I'm joined off screen by Alison from Police Spies Out of Lives, who insists on...
Insists? You need to introduce her.
This is the duck of...
Genuine Feelings.
Genuine Feelings, yes. One of the many creations of Alison's, which you may have seen in the Police Spies Out of Lives Instagram account. John Grieve, when you came in slightly late, not to slag you off, but one of the things you said once you'd been listening for a few minutes is like, if they got the wrong person.
I feel like they've made a really big mistake.
Yes.
They brought in, by mistake, they brought in a human being.
Yes, it is weird.
Questions.
Yes, he does answer questions.
And who seems to have a degree of empathy.
It is strange. I like it. I noticed that that Jessica, who follows on Twitter, said he says he doesn't remember something, and I believe him.
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable with this.
Yeah, I have come in late, and also I'm always doing other bits and pieces of work and at the same time. But the thing that, you said it really. He's talked about institutional racism in the Met, and he also said, which I haven't heard anyone say, but it's really when someone says, it's like, oh, of course, they were hearing that from within the Black Officers Association. So this idea that it wasn't there, it's really been, upturned. But more than anything, I just feel like, and the other thing he's doing, which we haven't seen very many. So he's been in inquiries before, hasn't he? He's talking to the chair. He's addressing the chair. Yes. Which hardly anyone does. Yeah, so he is talking politely. He's answering the questions of the barrister, but he is, even in framing his answers, that's why he keeps saying "sir," because he's very aware that actually the person he's giving this evidence to is the chair. Yes,
yeah, very much. It's a totally different sort of style. I mean, it feels completely different. It feels so different today at the inquiry. I mean, also that it's very quiet today, that there's not many people in the public gallery compared to yesterday, which was absolutely rammed. It's real chalk and cheese.
Sorry, the other thing he said that I thought was quite interesting, and he may have just been making sort of a quip or like it was a metaphor, but he said everything's on record. He said there are mountains of paperwork of all this. Everything has been recorded. There is a record of everything, which is very different from what the inquiry is seeing, because we're not seeing records of everything. And then he said, it'll be in a coal mine somewhere in Wales. Didn't he say that?
West Midlands.
West Midlands. He's at coal mine. It will be in a coal mine.
Yeah.
And, Evelyn looked at me like quizzically, like, is that like a metaphor for it will be there? Is that? But no, I think it actually does being archived down an old mine.
Old mines are what often are used for these huge amounts of records. He says you just need to find the proper archivist. You say you can find this. You need to find the proper archivist. And he was quite insistent, and it wasn't like he was saying it as a throwaway comment. He was like explaining to the inquiry, look, this is out there. You need to work harder to find it, because everything has been recorded.
Oh, that will be good news for the Home Office. They'll be really pleased to hear that.
Yes,
they're trying to cut the budget. So, no, actually, we need a bit more because we need some people to go down a mine in West Midlands.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. He talked. He was asked about the formulation of the Met Police's response, and he was quite candid. He admitted that in the early days of the Stephen Lawrence inquiry, that the response was very much about defending the reputation of the Met, and there was that was seen to be the concern of many of the senior officers. They weren't willing to take on board the criticism. They were just looking for ways to defend. He said that by the time he was brought in, things were on top, and that things had changed.
Using the vernacular.
Using the vernacular. Things had got on top. And he talked about Meltdown Sunday, which was 10 days before the inquiry report was published, when it had been leaked to the press that there was going to be a finding of institutional racism. And he was quite, he didn't claim any sort of sort of like he didn't predict it at all. He said he was concerned about the overt racism, and that the institutional racism was something which he came to learn through following the inquiry in so much detail. He said that he sat through 7/8 of the second half of the inquiry, and said that it offered a snapshot of the society in England in 1998, which he did criticise the inquiry for only 6 pages of the final report referring to that part of it, and he said there's a lot in there, a lot of understanding of what was going wrong, what happened then. You're getting the sense of someone. I remember saying this when we had Creamer. I don't know if you remember Creamer when he gave.
Unfortunately,
no, but I mean, Roy Creamer. But I mean, this is only the second.
He was very old. Was that
very old, very old.
Really old at the beginning, really early on.
One of the first managers that we heard from.
Yes,
this is only the second of the police we've heard, which I really get the sense is, it's a bit of an intellectual. That this is someone who actually seems to understand like complicated ideas and has thought about them. And whilst I may disagree with him on many things, I get the impression that he is engaging with this inquiry in a straightforward way.
Thoughtful. I think he's quite thoughtful, because he was saying about he said there was pushback.
Yes.
About the findings, and he said that's good. Sort of. They're being a devil's advocate. Critical. He didn't say critical thinking, but pushback was good, but straight denials wasn't. And then they asked about Condon, and I thought his response to that was very interesting. He said something like, I don't feel that I could read him. He said, difficult to read.
Yeah, difficult to read. He said, I don't know. He said he kept him. Yeah, he didn't. It wasn't his style to do pushback. There would be other people in the room who would do that. But yeah, he didn't know him well enough to be able to ever.
Very tactful.
Very tactful, incredibly tactful. Yeah, I mean, I get the impression from learning the way that he speaks. I think he actually was being quite damning with what he was saying, but he didn't want to be, too overt. But it was essentially saying that, here's a man who wouldn't tell you what he thought, but
I thought so. I mean, he was basically saying what we were saying yesterday. The man's a politician.
Yes, yeah, literally.
He was saying that, wasn't he? Difficult, and distant. He said he was quite distant.
That was the word. Yeah, distant.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the sense. I mean, he was. We're going to hear from Bob Quick this afternoon, but Bob Quick's sort of claiming that he was very prescient about what was going to come out in terms of institutional racism. He said he's not sure that was true. He said they were both made comments about that it's about the racism at the time. As soon as he was, it's the very first meetings that he came to, which were in the August of 98. And he said that, yes, they both raised that. He said he wasn't fully aware of what institutional racism, what really meant that the Met was institutionally racist. He came to understand that through having lectures from some of the supporters of the Lawrence family. He talked about Suresh Grover in very glowing terms. He said he's tried to recruit him. He said he tried to recruit him into the independent advisory group, and he felt that that they needed to listen to people like Suresh Grover, and that he was being briefed against very heavily by Special Branch. He told them that was nonsense. He said he was accused of going native. Which was something else which had come from elsewhere, which was put to him, is this criticism, to which he said this is neo-colonial racist nonsense.
Right.
He said an example of the racism that he would come across very regularly, along with people, senior officers saying to him, "Don't you think this has all gone a bit too far? Don't you think it's incompetence, not racism?" To which he said, "Well, this was racism itself. This was an example of the racism that he was encountering."
Well, I feel quite an achievement with the knitted creatures of virtues, the virtuous knitted creatures. Why? Because this is the duck of genuine feelings, and the idea of these creatures is to infuse the inquiry space with some virtue that the officers don't have. And actually, this bloke does seem to have some genuine feelings that he is expressing and emoting. So go duck, I say.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all the duck. Yeah, yes. It's only a short break.
They say, can I just tell you, Tom,
please.
They say that good friends are able to go from high to low in one conversation. And I think we've done that.
We have done that. We have very much done that, yes. It's only a short break. Because of the advanced age of the witness, we are having a 15-minute break every hour. I
love that.
Yes. It's much easier to digest, to be fair.
Yeah.
So we'll be back again in about an hour with another update of what's going on.
And I commend you, Tom. I commend you and honour you for the work you do.
Thanks.
True say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it fair
I can't
play?
believe how much you follow it. I mean, how do you know what I mean? It's like a machine. I mean, I know people say it on here,
okay,
but I am reiterating. It is incredible. When you're in there, it's so easy to just drift off, doodle, do other work. But the fact that you listen that carefully and retain it, very impressive.
Thank you very much, Comrade.
Well,
okay, thanks to everybody who's liking and sharing these videos. Makes a huge difference. Just a comment from someone, he might say something interesting. I think he might. I think if any of the witnesses are going to, I think that he might. He might also might not, but we will find out. Thanks for joining.